on. We'll make this pretty quick, but this is from Brachot and Yaakov again. So Alma, and it's page 19 going on 20. So this is Alma Rav Yehuda Alma Rav. Rav Yehuda said in the name of Rav, Hamotze Kla'im b'bigdo, if one found Kla'im, which is the mixture of wool and linen, in his clothing, he's wearing his clothing. And suddenly he realized, wow, there is wool and linen in this clothing, which is forbidden by the Torah. Poshtin, he has to take it off. Afilu b'shuk, even in the middle of the marketplace. Wow. Okay, so if you have that on, and you didn't realize, and you suddenly realized it, or somebody informed you of it, since it is a biblical injunction not to wear those two things together, in other words, it has to be, again, in the same garment. It can't be I wear a linen shirt and a wool jacket. That's not kalayim.
Even if they're touching.
Yeah, that's not kalayim. Kalayim is when they're sewn or weaved together.
I understand, like jackets, what they look for is like a linen thing for a shoulder pad.
Correct. If it's sewn together,
that'd be sewn.
That's right. Then you cannot use it. And why you have to take it off even in the shuk, even in the marketplace, is because there's ein chachama, the ein tavuna, the ein eitzak leneged Hashem. It comes from Proverbs. It says there is no wisdom, there is no understanding, there is no counsel that can go opposite Hashem. Hashem said you cannot wear this, you cannot wear this. Now, what we're going to come halachically down, and I don't want to get stuck on the halacha, as it were, but basically you can't strip yourself down naked, because that is a matter of kavod briot, of the honor of the person. So that's going to push this away a little bit. So what they would advise you is to get off the road and to get to a secluded place and then remove it, or do some other thing. In other words, if I don't get any benefit from it, then I could also do it. There's a whole bunch of answers halachically as to how this practically works out. But in just general terms, if I know I have it, I shouldn't be wearing it. Okay, so I have to take it off. So they wanted to go to an extreme here. So then it says, Kol makom sheyesh chil Hashem. Anytime there is a profanation of Hashem, or the profanation of God's name, ein cholkin kavod l'rav. You do not give honor to the Rav, as it were, to the rabbi. Okay. So, and then now we go to what they say about that. I forget what they said. Nobody's commenting. Okay, so I know I learned something about that, but I forget right now. Let's go on. Okay, now we're on page 20. It says, Amalei Rav Papa la Abaye. Rav Papa said to Abaye, my shana, what is the difference of the Rishonim, of the first rabbis, as it were, the Tanaim, shemitcharesh luhu nisa, that they had miracles happening to them, umay shana, and now what's the difference between us, anan delo mitcharesh lan nisa, that we do not have miracles happening to us. Okay, this is a class in itself, the whole class of miracles, which God willing one day I'll get to, but it's this is the question they're having. So concerning this, we're dealing with, at least in the Gemara of Tainus, we're dealing with rain. Why were the people answered? Why were the Rishonim answered right away, and why aren't we being answered? Because we have a problem with rain today. We don't have a problem with rain today. We have a problem with having summer. But in this context, you're dealing with lack of rain, and what would happen if I have a lack of rain? So you declare a fast, and so on and so forth. Well, it used to be with the Rishon and the Tanaim, when they would declare a fast, right away Hashem, as it were, would give the rain to them. So why is it there's no miracles happening today? That's really the question. So he says, so the rabbi continues, the was it? Rav Papa. So Rav Papa continues. He says, "I mishum tanoi v'sheni derav Yehuda kuli tanoi nzichen have." So if you're going to say that the reason is because they in the years of Rabbi Yehuda that they would learn all of the laws of the Nezikin, which Rashi explains was 2/3. I'll give you Rashi here. Rashi says that Nezikin have lo have gedolim b'chol Gemara. They weren't giants in the whole Gemara of the 4 seders. Originally, we have 6 sedarim. We have 6 orders. They had 4 orders according to this. Ella b'tlat bavei shalom, which is 1/3. So they 1/2 of what we have. Okay, so they apparently were only experts in Nezikin, which is a good amount of stuff. Let's not argue that. Nezikin is a good order. Okay, and yet he says if that's the reason, we're learning the whole Talmud. So if you're going to say it's because they had more learning than us, it's not true. We have more learning than them. This is an amazing discussion, by the way, because to argue, we normally say you read it Hadorot with each generation away from Sinai. We have less of a connection to Sinai. We're not as good as they were. Yet this Gemara is saying the exact opposite, saying they were experts in only one, if you will, 1/3 or 1/6 of the Talmud. Today we are all 6. We have the whole Talmud. We're studying it. We're having whole discussions here. So we're clearly better as far as knowledge-wise. As far as looking into the Gemara, can you imagine with all the articles that we have right behind me, with all these articles, the people learning Daf HaYomi, there's not a Jew today that doesn't have the ability to see Shas, the whole Shas, and on a 7-year basis, and even without that, if a person wants to really fly, they can do it on their own. So they can do it. I knew a guy in YU who did it not using articles, using the regular Gemaras, in 2.5 years. Because what he did was, I'll learn until I don't want to learn.
Wow.
So he would do a couple of dapim, 3-4 dapim. I mean, if you double up the dapim, you already reduced it to 2 years, to 3 years.
Yeah.
Right? If I do 3 dapim, I'm going to go on down even more. If I do, they say that some Rebbe, I forget who the Rebbe is. Visions Rebbe. They say he finishes Shas every 6 months.
Whoa.
Because he's doing 14 dapim a day. He's reading it like I read the newspaper. He reads that. Okay. So it's, you can finish it. So here these people were going through it and they were studying it. She said if it's a matter of Torah study, I can't buy that. So, and then he gave an example. Ki havi mati Rabbi Yehuda be'uksin. When Rabbi Yehuda was learning uksin, so what happened was, so Isha Shekaveshet Yarak, he had a problem with this. He had a problem with the subject matter. He says, Isha Kavesh, the Mishnah said that, actually it's not even in, according to the rabbis, I can't even find where this quote is coming from. But it says, the Gemara says, Isha Shekaveshet Yarak B'Kedera, if a woman is preserving a vegetable in the pot, V'amrile, and some others say, Zaitim Shekavashan, olives that are preserved together with the leaves are tahor, are spiritually clean. So Amar, he would say, Havayot de Rav Shmuel kai chazina hacha. I see issues so obscure as to equal all the penetrating discussions of Rav Shmuel put together. In other words, these issues that we're dealing in Uksan are so difficult, it's worse than all of the problems that you have with Rav and Shmuel and the Gemara dealing with Nezikin. They're easy. Anybody who learns Nezikin will tell you that the arguments between Rav and Shmuel is not so easy to understand. But for Rabbi Yehuda, you're saying that's child's play compared to Uksan. Can't get it. Okay. Now va'anan kaimat nitim beuksan tleisar mitavata. But whereas today Rav Papa is arguing. Today, study of the tractate of Uksin is in 13 different versions. Thus, we are superior to Rav Yehuda's generation in Torah scholarship. We have schools that study this. We're 13 versions of it. We have no problem with flooding back and forth. He had a problem with it. So if that's the case, it can't be. The either Rabbi Yehuda, if that's the reason they had miracles, it can't be. The either Rabbi Yehuda, Kayahabe Shalach Nisana, yet when there was a drought, Rabbi Yehuda would merely remove one shoe as a sign of affliction. Ata Mitra, and the rain would come immediately. V'hanan, Kai Mitzar and Avshin, and we afflict ourselves. Umitzvach Kai Savchinan, and cry out profusely in prayer. V'leit Mashgachban, and no one pays attention to us. Why should that be? Here, Rabbi Yehuda just took off his shoe to pain himself a little, to a little bit of tshuva, and suddenly the rains come down. If you're going to claim that it's because of Torah scholarship, I'm not buying it, because we are greater scholars than the time of Rabbi Yehuda. Again, it's an amazing statement for an Amora to say that the Tana had less scholarship than we did. It's an amazing statement. Wow. Something that has to be understood in its own right, and one day in Yisrael Hashem, when I understand it, I'll be able to tell you. But I don't get it. The Iyun Yaakov says like this. He says, Ki gadol Talmud Torah. He says, because Talmud Torah is a great thing. Why is he looking at Talmud Torah? He says, because Talmud Torah is a major accomplishment. Ubitul Talmud Torah, and not learning Torah. So what happens? The rains will be stopped. So, Rak Amrinan, we say in the Midrash, if you will walk in my statutes, Shetiyu Amelim Torah, which means that you'll be delving into Torah. I will give rain in its proper time. That also says in another passage that it'll drop, my teachings will drop like rain. So if that's why that's why he's picking on Talmud Torah. If you want to say that we have bittul Torah going on, it's not true. We do have plenty of Torah going on. We have 13, they had one school and they couldn't understand Uksen, which is obscure laws dealing with Tahor and being spiritually clean, being Tahor namely, and then Tahor and Tameh being spiritually impure. We have 13 schools that are doing that. We're learning all of Shas. They're learning one part of Shas. We're not lazy. We're learning. How can you say that is all coming down to learning Torah? It cannot be that. So again, I ask the question, Rav Papa's yelling, why did they have miracles and why don't we have miracles today? Why is it that when we cry to God, God doesn't listen? So, fine, he has a good argument. Here we go. Abaye answers him and says, Amalei. He said to him, Kamai havikai misare nafshehu akadusha d'Hashem. The first generation that you're picking on, the early generation, sacrificed themselves in order to sanctify Hashem's name, and therefore that's why they were having miracles done on their behalf. Anan, we on the other hand, lo masmin nafshin akadusha d'Hashem. We're not willing to give over our souls for Kiddush Hashem.
What was it? The first generation? What was that during like the Roman persecution? What's he talking about?
No, the Tanaim would be it could have been also with that, but the Tanaim, I don't know where the Tanaim and the Amoraim. I don't know historically where they break. I used to know that, but I don't deal with that so much. But there's a break. There's always a break between one to the next and to the next. So I'm not sure what year that would be. That has to the Tanaim, the Amoraim. The Tanaim are the ones who wrote the Mishnah. Right. Amoraim are the ones who write the Gemara. So, but there's like anything, there's an overlap. So I'm not sure who is in the overlap.
Well, the Romans, what was it?
It starts in 200.
Yerushalayim was finally destroyed at 135, something like that.
No, Yerushalayim? Yeah, Yerushalayim. Never destroyed totally. In 70, what happened was
That was
That was when the temple was destroyed, and the Romans came in and salted the land. So as a result, nothing would grow.
So
but
Masada was 130.
Say that again?
Masada.
Masada was.
What was 134 and 135?
No, Masada was that's Bar Kokhba revolt. Could have been around 135.
Yeah. And the Tanayim were probably just.
Tanayim were before.
Before that, they started.
Tanayim were before.
But you say it was the Mishnah was first committed to writing around 200.
200, yeah. It was closed, I believe, closed at 200 CE. So they're all that time.
Already writing it.
They're all that time. Okay. And then you have the Gemara closed at 500 by Rav Papa and Abaye. The people actually arguing here are in 400, 500.
Yeah.
They close it at 500, so they have to be 450.
Wow.
Okay. So, but this is what he's saying. They gave their souls for Kiddush Hashem, and we don't. And he gives an example. Ki Hai Rav Ada Bar Ahava Chazidahu Kutit. The Rav Ada Bar Ahava saw this non-Jewish woman, and he thought she was Jewish. Okay, Rav Ada Bar Ahava thinks this person is Jewish. He doesn't realize she's not Jewish. And what happened? Dahavat Levishat Karabalta Bishuk, and he saw that she was wearing this expensive type of clothing, and in the marketplace. And going back to the first part, the stomach, he thought that it had some what do you call it? I'm guessing he thought it had kalayim, because that would be the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah.
Either that or they're dressing like goyim, and you're not supposed to dress like non-Jews. Either one. Okay, it could be either one. So what happened? Sava, the Bat Yisraeli, he thought she was a Jewish woman. Kam Shaimub, and I'm sorry, who kam Kar Emine. And so he rips it off her. Rips the clothes off her. Forget it. It's a jacket. He wasn't ripping off the clothes and getting into nakedness. He takes off this expensive coat and rips it off her and ruins it in the process. Okay? What happens? Agle Milta Dekutit, lo and behold, we find out that he finds out she's a non-Jew. Shemua ba'arabamea zuzeh. He said, and so they estimate the damage at 400 zuz.
A lot of money back then, huh?
Oh yeah, it's not bad. Okay? So, Amalei Mashemeit. So he asked her, what's your name? Amalei Matun. Amalei Matun. She said to him, Matun, my name is Matun. Amalei, he said to her, Matun, Arbaz Me'azuzei Shavia. Matun was worth 400 zuz to me. Which means, and Matun, according to this, is the Aramaic for 200. That's the woman's name pretended as outcome. Okay, because 2 times 200 is 400. And that's what he wants to say there. But that was how they would show themselves to be willing to go beyond the call of duty. In other words, it was not Rav Ada Bar Ava's job to rip something off from you. Okay, if I see you doing something wrong, what I do is I say to you, it's not proper what you're doing. I can give you the musar, and you have to do what you have to do. Okay, so if you think that is wrong, if you understand it's wrong, so you're going to take it off. It's not for me to force you to do something. I see this many times with people. We have a Gemara that says, and I've even given a lecture on this, that it said, the Gemara, I forget what the Gemara is, but it says, if I do one mitzvah right, perfectly, l'shem shamayim, for the sake of heaven, I've earned my way into heaven. Just from that one mitzvah. It doesn't have to do all 613. One mitzvah. If I do one mitzvah, l'shem shamayim, perfectly, I've won. I get my entrance to Gan Eden. And for that reason, Hashem gave us 613 commandments, because out of all of them, I should be able to do at least one. Okay? That's the thought process. And that's what the Gemara says. Now I come up with my mitzvah that I like. I like a mitzvah. Okay? So I'm developing that mitzvah. That's for me. It doesn't mean you have to do my mitzvah.
Uh-huh.
So when I try to force you to do my mitzvah,
Yeah.
I'm not doing you any favors because maybe you're not ready for that. Okay. So what I do is I present the mitzvah and I try to dress it up beautifully as I can. And either you buy my product, to use business terms, or you don't buy my product. But if you don't buy it, I go to the next customer. Or I keep to myself. But I don't try to force it upon you. And that's what people do. People always try to force what they like upon other people. And that's why religion has such a bad name. If I like it, doesn't mean you will like it. Torah has a lot of different ways to come to you. I'm not saying that anybody should, just because I follow one mitzvah, I shouldn't follow the others. God forbid. Nobody should listen to that, should hear that. What I'm saying is that if I like the mitzvah of tefillin, and so I'm going to buy my tefillin that's worth $5,000, assuming there probably are pairs that will cost $5,000. But it doesn't mean that I have to force you to do it. I know whenever I get my tefillin checked, they always do the same thing. You really should upgrade your tefillin. And I asked the person, are these kosher tefillin? Are they made properly? Yes. Did God tell us how to do this? Yes. I said, okay, so if they're good and if God agrees with them, why should I spend more money? If it's something that I want, because I think it's a great mitzvah and I want to perfect and I want to, there's another part that Zekeli v'Yavehu, this is my God, I will glorify Him, so I want to get the top of the line stuff, fine. But if I just want to fulfill the mitzvah, I can get this pair. Why should I spend more money? Same thing with a lulav. I can spend $200 getting a lulav and etrog, or I can spend $50. God appreciates both sides. Doesn't really matter. God said, take the lulav, take the etrog, take the avaminim. Fine, I have done that. Doesn't mean I have to spend thousands of dollars to fulfill a mitzvah. If, on the other hand, I hold that is a mitzvah I want to really develop, good. But it doesn't mean I should thrust my desires upon you.
What's the commentary tell us about Hidur mitzvah, about beautifying the...
I'm saying the Torah says, this is my God and I will glorify Him. So I should always do every mitzvah to the best of my ability. I should. But if I don't feel that connection to that mitzvah,
or you don't have the extra $2,000.
No, if I don't, there's no question. Yeah, if I don't have it, there's no question. But let's say I did have it, and I want, but I don't have that connection to it. For whatever reason,
you're doing the mitzvah.
I want to do the mitzvah. Leave me alone. I have 613. If I'm going to do everything to the best of my ability, how much? Maybe I won't have any money left. I don't know. Maybe I won't be happy. I'll look at the Torah as a burden. I don't want to see the Torah as a burden. It's a wonderful thing to be prince, or to be the king, if you will. Okay, I'm from the royal family. If I view it like that, so I'm going to spend the money that's going to be fitting. But if I see it as a total burden, not only while I'm spending my money, I'm going to feel, I hate this. Sooner or later, I'm going to abandon it. So it's true. It's true. This is my God. Now glorify Him. But again, I have to be happy with it. If I'm going to be keeping up with the Joneses, or in this case, the Goldbergs, okay, so then I'm not doing L'Shem Shamayim. There's something else. We have to understand, if I'm doing Zekeli Vaveu L'Shem Shamayim, that's those people watching, I just want 5 Hebrew words, okay. If I'm doing this, my God, I will glorify Him, and I'm doing L'Shem Shamayim for the sake of heaven, that's fine. But if I'm doing it to keep up with whomever, it's not L'Shem Shamayim anymore. I've jumped that, and all I'm doing is trying to keep up with you guys.
That's just an ego thing.
It's an ego trip. What do I need it for? So that's why I tell people, if I have that connection to this mitzvah, to that mitzvah, whatever mitzvah I have, I'm going to spend my money. But if I don't have that connection, I'm not, who am I keeping up with? I want a book, I can go to a library. I don't have to buy every single book on the shelves. If I'm going to, people will tell you need a Shita Mikubetze. I don't know if I've looked at Shita Mikubetze. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I don't look at it. Maybe I should. If I would look at it, I would say, oh, what a beautiful book. But people, I once said to somebody, maybe I should buy it. The guy said to me, unless you're going to go in depth, it's just going to collect dust on your shelf. So why should you buy it? You want it, you go to the base measure, you look at it and you find out what it is. Okay. Not everybody has to buy these things, but if I'm really into learning, into our deepest levels, well, of course, I should have all those tools at my fingertips. Why shouldn't I have it? And now we have the net. So we really don't have to buy any books anymore. You go to whatever, HebrewBooks.com, and it's all there. Okay. But that's what's going on here. If I'm willing to give my soul up for this mitzvah, like they were, okay? Again, we're not saying that this is something that everybody should do, but they were using this as an example because, again, Rav Papa is saying, Abaye is saying to Rav Papa, we don't do this today. He doesn't say why we don't. And that's why the Meforshim are picking up. He's saying, what do you mean we don't give up our lives for this? Of course we do, but different things. And so they get into a whole defense. But it's and also the fact of the matter is that he understood Rav Ada Bar Ava when he was being charged the money. He didn't argue. He said, I have to pay. Of course I have to pay. He would have paid the Jewish person too. Yeah. Because you're ripping off the stuff. You have to pay. If I'm going to do something, I still have to pay for damages. There's damages. You have no right to damage my product. No matter what it is, you have no right. You were saving me from sinning. Thank you so much. Now you pay up. Okay, so the question is a fascinating question. Why don't we have the miracles? And the answer is also just as fascinating as the question. Because we're not willing to give our lives up for Hashem like the original people were. We're not willing to be Moshe Nefesh. And if you listen to, Moshe Nefesh means giving up our soul. And if you listen to every single convention, if you will, Torah Masorah convention, even RCA conventions, any convention, you have rabbis together, you'll hear that one term. We're being Moshe Nefesh, we're giving up our souls for whatever reason. Okay, so according to them, we have no problem. We're giving up our souls constantly. And so all these miracles should happen. But like I said, the question is an interesting question as to why miracles don't happen, or at least open miracles don't happen. That when we ask God, Vashiv Haruch and Merdigesha, that immediately the wind doesn't start to blow and the rain come down, which was what the Gemara in Tainus will say is the true miracle. In other words, when I say Vashiv Haruch, let the wind blow, the wind should start to blow. Merdigesha, the wind let the rain come down, the rain should start to come down. At that point, we are tzaddikim. Anything short of that is not. So again, in this area, if you remember when we started to say it, we said on Shmini Atzeret, when we said Mashiv Baruch and Geshem, it was pouring that day. So if that's the case, Mastama, we're all tzaddikim. Okay, we'll have to stop there.